Hi, I'm Dave Casey, founder of the Innovation Leaders Club. In this video, we're going to look how to conduct a technology watch. It's a real challenge for all organizations because they are surrounded by multiple technologies, and there are two key questions to answer. First, is this new technology interesting for our organization? And also, if it's interesting, when should I adopt that technology? Because if I do get into this technology too early, it may cause some problem. It might be too costly, and in fact, we might be missing other opportunities. So timing is really important as well. So if we're trying to get a proactive innovation strategy, it's key to make sure that we enter into technology at the right time, not too early, not too late. Let's look at some of the tools.
Is Technology Watch part of your job description, or is it more on standard and regulation? Learn how others are organized to conduct it and download the tool so that you too can start implementing the best practices. More precisely, the video will cover how technology is often a critical input in innovation. You need to closely monitor technological progress to find new purpose. Having a structured approach with a rigorous tool will help you tackle this task and stay at the cutting edge of technology. As well as how many club members are following multiple technologies in various sectors. Don't be fooled. You don't need sophisticated tools. In this podcast, club member examples are presented to show how others are doing it. And finally, how standards and regulations can be highly restrictive in some industries, and integrating them into your development plan becomes paramount to stay relevant in your market. Find out how club members are tracking regulatory changes. We have developed a 60-page visual guidebook on how to develop an innovation strategy. It is a fully illustrated step-by-step guide to building the foundation of an innovation system. Click the link in the description below to download it for free. Let's summarize the suggested inputs. To develop your innovation strategy, you'll need to gather inputs including both facts and data. As a brief summary, an innovation strategy has three key components: objectives, strategic arenas, and an attack plan per strategic arenas. But to identify and select the best strategic arenas, you and the team responsible for developing the innovation strategy will need inputs from the organization, the market, technology, and standards and regulations. If the organization's current knowledge level is low, it's recommended to perform this data gathering activity before identifying and selecting the strategic arenas. However, if you feel confident about your current knowledge level, this step can also be done, at the latest, when you define the selected strategic arenas. Generally, information should be readily available, whether it's part of an existing presentation or in someone's head. It shouldn't require generating new information, but may require formalizing it, especially if the idea is in someone's head. The intent is to share this information so that everyone developing the innovation strategy is on the same level playing field. Most of our club members start by regrouping current available information and fill the gaps afterwards. Let's briefly review their definition and objectives. An input is the term denoting either an entrance or changes inserted into a system and activating or modifying a process. The objective of analyzing inputs is to obtain past and current facts that can help plan the future. And so this is precisely the intent, as it will serve to develop the innovation strategy. The proposed toolbox includes 7 tools, namely Technology Watch, Technology Readiness Level, Gartner Hype Cycle, Technology Radar, Disruptive Technologies Assessment, Peripheral Vision, and the Delphi Method. Let's take a look at the Technology Watch. The Technology Watch consists of observation tracking, filtering out, and assessing potential technologies from a wide field extending beyond the normal confines of the sector. A technology watch process can be broken down into 4 main phases. Phase 1, needs definition. Phase 2, data collection. Phase 3, analysis of the collected data. And Phase 4, integration and exploitation of the results. The technology watch process must be capable of identifying any scientific or technical innovation with potential to create opportunities or avoid threats for the organization.
The first tool we'll be looking at is the technology readiness level, namely TRL. It's a common way of expressing the maturity level of a technology. It's very commonly used among different innovation centers, and it eases the communication among also a common industry. So the example that we have next, it comes from the NASA, which is the original source from the TRL, but there's multiple of other models for TRL that might be more suitable for industry. Have a look on the web and you might find something interesting. But before we get into this, let's look at the original TRL.
The following tool is the technology readiness level, known as the TRL level. The technology readiness level was developed by NASA to do just that, easily communicate the readiness of a technology. Over the years, it's proven its effectiveness, and it's been adopted as well as adapted to many other industries such as aerospace, automotive, and electronics. There are 9 levels on the scale. They can be grouped into 3 maturity phases. The first is the research phase grouping TRL1 through 3. These types of projects are generally conducted by universities and research facilities as they aim to discover new technologies and perform a technological feasibility assessment with a proof of concept. The second phase is the development grouping TRL4 through 6. These types of projects are sometimes addressed by an organization's advanced development team or by research and technology organizations, commonly known as RTO. However, at this stage, it's still quite immature to be implemented into any product or offering intended for the market. During these stages, the technology is developed, tested, and refined to lead to a prototypical demonstration in a controlled environment. The third and final stage is the development grouping TRL7 through 9. From TRL7 to 9, organizations can start to implement the technology into an offering as it's proven its feasibility and is sufficiently reliable to be deployed to market.
The next example comes from one of our members from France. Their name is FM Logistic, and as the name says, they are in the logistic. If you have in mind like web delivery, if you have just-in-time production, there's a lot of pressure that is being applied on logistic in the last few years. And with that comes with all kinds of technologies in order to improve efficiency and also information management. So when FM Logistic implemented their innovation team, they had to map what was going on in the current development within the technologies, and that was a real challenge. So they didn't reuse the TRL per se, but they came up with a way of measuring their maturity level suitable for their needs, and they map using 2 tools, and one of them is a radar. I've seen some club members reusing that tool to score a lot of points within their organization by using the tools and populating the tools with the information that they were already having in different people's mind, but using the tools to express what was within their radar in terms of technologies, and be able to communicate that some technologies are ready to use and some of them are more like mid or long term. So let's have a look at those 2 tools.
Here's an example from European club member FM Logistic. FM Logistic aims to be a leading player in supply chain management in all its vertical and geographic markets. The vision builds on the company's existing strengths and opportunities offered by the growth in e-commerce and omni-channel logistics, the transformation of urban logistics, digitization, automation, as well as investments in the development of its human resources. They've clearly identified new technologies as a way to achieve this vision. FM Logistic aims to become a leader in logistics through innovation. In 2009, they created an innovation team and held them responsible for the technology watch. To accomplish this task, they used 2 tools, the technology maturation process and the technology radar. The technology maturation tool is divided into 5 phases. The exploration is the trigger. It's the moment that you learn about a new technology and you believe it could be interesting. The feasibility study and evaluation is the next step where you begin to evaluate the relevance and feasibility of using the technology. The conception and prototype development is when you begin to test it with a real application in a laboratory. The pilot is the first experiment of the technology in the field. In their case, it would be a pilot warehouse. The implementation is the broad deployment of the technology in the offer development that eventually becomes widely accessible. You can find the 5 phases at the top of this pipeline representation. On the left side, you will enter the technology categories which really depend on your industry sector, and then you will place the technologies according to where you believe they are in your pipeline maturation. At the bottom right, you can enter any updates or abandoned technologies if you decide to use it as a living document. The technology radar is another tool to map the various technologies segmented into categories. Additionally, the radar indicates the time horizon before the technology will have matured enough and can be implemented into an offering.
Last but not the least, we're going to look at how to assess disruptive technologies. Disruptive means it can cause major issue within an industries, and in some cases, some organization might go bankrupt. That was the case by Kodak, that even though they have invented the digital pictures back in 1978, they were not able to capture the value of it, and ultimately it caused their death. So it's more complicated than the few minutes we're going to look at this, but it gives you an introduction, especially one of the club members that is doing it right in the construction industry. And also we're going to look at 2 views, first from Bob Cooper, and the last and the graphic tools proposed by Clinton Christensen in the Innovator's Dilemma. So let's have a look.
Here's another radar option with the time horizon on the bottom left rather than as part of the background. The next tool is the Disruptive Technologies Assessment. Before delving into the tool itself, let's define what a disruptive technology is. First, it's usually a radical or step change innovation. The proposed product is often inferior in performance or with significantly fewer features, but it poses potential threats or opportunities for the future as the proposed value is significantly different from current offerings. Here's another club member example, this time from Pomerleau. Pomerleau is one of North America's leading construction companies, and it's no coincidence. Since its opening in Beauce, it's been focused on an essential element in its success, its employees. These dedicated professionals allow Pomerleau to manage more than 150 projects while maintaining a solid reputation. Today, Pomerleau has up to 4,000 employees and 9 offices across the country. Pomerleau aims to become a leader in Construction 4.0 built on innovation. They've created an innovation team responsible for developing and implementing the most innovative construction practices. As part of their implemented innovative practices, they focus their efforts on 1. Modeling and coordination, creation of 3D models, multidisciplinary 3D coordination, BIM for operation and maintenance. 2. Planning and sequencing the work, 4D simulations, lean approach. 3. Data acquisition, 3D laser scan, drone, 360-degree photos. 4. Virtual reality, project immersion before the construction starts, anticipate issues, and communicate the project intuitively. The dangers of implementing disruptive technologies are that dominant firms usually lose their dominancy after disruptions occur. This is exactly what happened with Kodak and digital photography. It's interesting to remember that Kodak invented digital photography in 1978 and was one of the first companies to develop digital cameras. However, they were unable to move away from the consumable business model. Also, what made firms successful initially can sow the seeds of defeat, creating a worldwide dilemma. And finally, disruptions sometimes fly under the radar because they often occur unnoticed. First products have inferior performance, Netflix versus Blockbuster, for example, and industry experts and forecasters dismiss new products and new technologies. To predict a disruptive technology's impact, Continually monitor the outside technology landscape in your industry. First, by identifying technologies that might address your current customers' drivers better than your own technology, and second, by monitoring the technologies in those industries working on related problems. Then try to understand the dynamics of innovation and substitution. There are reasons why new technologies emerge: an unmet customer need which the current technology cannot meet, and a new customer need as a result of shifts in the external environment. Try to understand the causes, and finally, assess whether the new technology is likely to satisfy that need. The performance of existing technologies will generally improve the performance demand that the marketplace can absorb, the number of pixels in a camera, for example. Then, when a disruptive technology appears in the market, it will underperform in comparison to current technology. However, over time, it will surpass the performance of the existing technology. In the meantime, the key is to create a new performance dimension, making it disruptive, for example, providing unlimited movie access with a Netflix subscription. Disruptive technologies should be treated as major threats by dominant companies and also as a high potential for new challengers. However, it can be an excellent opportunity for others. Let's discuss a few examples that have occurred in the last century. Digital watches, which almost destroyed the Swiss watch industry. Handheld calculators, which devastated mechanical calculating devices. And finally, the ballpoint pen, the Xerox machine, and the inkjet engine, which created significant dislocations in the printing industry.
I hope this video was useful. As most organizations, your role is not to develop new technologies, but rather to implement them within your organization to provide additional, or in some cases, new value to your clients. So the real challenge, it is to track those technologies, select if they are applicable for you, and also make sure that you're timely when you use those technology, neither too early, neither too late.
If you haven't already done so, you can get your hands on our popular 60-page visual guidebook for free. Click the link in the description below. Don't hesitate to watch the next video to learn even more about innovation management practices.